Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. During this last week, the majority of the storm activity across the nation was associated with a very strong upper air low that moved across the southern plains and then moved northeastward, such that we brought some significant snowfall to portions of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and to the east of that, unfortunately, we had some significant severe weather, particularly as you got down into extreme southeastern United States, Georgia, North Carolina. We had a couple deaths due to tornadic activity. And as we move through this next week, we are paying attention to a series of storms that are expected to roll across the country, and one of them may actually bring some significant impacts to Nebraska, depending on whether or not it falls within the path that the GFS model is indicating, or if it does a European model forecast, which is to take it just south of the region. So let's take a look at, see how this may play out. Here's the first wave that is expected to move through the state, but before this reaches us here tomorrow, we are expecting a very nice day today as we have short-term ridging in place, so we should all be well into the 60-degree range across the state, and then this system will rapidly move eastward through the overnight hours and bring us a slight cool down. Now, because it's moving so rapidly, there's just not a lot of moisture associated with it, so I think at best we might see a few sprinkles, with the likeliest area of precipitation hitting the surface would be the Panhandle. Now, as we go into tomorrow, we see that system rapidly moving across the Great Lakes, and we get a slight northwest flow on the backside of this, so we'll drop our temperatures down about 5 to 10 degrees depending on location, but we'll still be looking at a fairly nice day, although a bit windy. Now, as we get into Monday, we start to see another system coming into the western United States and rapidly moving into the central Rockies. And this one does have the ability, according to the models, to really generate a fairly significant little low pressure system. And right now we're using the GFS model. That takes the prime portion of the energy across northern Kansas and southeastern and south central Nebraska. But if we look at the ECM model, it takes it a little bit farther deeper. So if we look at the Tuesday forecast, you can see the system gets tightly wound up. We get a fairly good fetch of cold air on the backside of it. So any precipitation that does change over to snow is going to be very wet and heavy, and the most likely area for significant accumulation at this time will be painted across north central northeastern Kansas, but a little bit farther drift to north and a verification of the GFS model, and we would see that snow rapidly evolving as we get into Nebraska, particularly east central, southeast, and south central Nebraska. And then as we get into Wednesday, we see the system rapidly move toward the upper Great Lakes region, and we're in a northwest flow, so a couple series of storms will move to the southeast. No moisture associated with them, just a little bit of flurry activity, but nothing in the way of real bitter cold weather. And then we see the high pressure ridge on Thursday building back up, so we'll see a rebound in temperatures, and it'll really depend on our daily highs, what we have for snow cover on the ground if we do get any with the storm system early next week. And as we go into Friday, that system out of the Pacific Northwest rapidly moves over to Nebraska and gives us another chance of light precipitation. And if we look even farther down the road, there's several in a line of storms that are poised to move into the western United States, so it appears that we're going to enter the month of March with very stormy weather. Now, the 8 to 14-day forecast keeps the above normal trend to the western portion of the United States, below normal, of course, over the Ohio River Valley. And in terms of precipitation, we see this overall dry pattern, but this severely has missed the storm system, and I expect that if we're going to see drier than normal conditions, it'll be painted across the Dakotas and points to the west, and more above normal moisture from Nebraska and points to the southwest.